Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. We are once again working on our microcarrier in Stormworks. In this one, we are going to start getting a little bit more into the technical parts of the ship. So in this episode, I'm going to get the freshwater system completely set up in the ship. And that means we're going to get a desalinator in there. We're going to get a freshwater tank. And then we are going to get a heater to recirculate and heat the water as well. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely stay tuned. And if you like this build so far, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We got plenty more to come. This ship is going to get very, very, very detailed on the inside. So definitely stay tuned for that. Before we get into the video, I'm kind of just messing around here. I figured I would show this off. I, for some reason, had the need to just kind of drive this thing into the dry dock. So I'm going to drive it into the dry dock, and you guys can kind of get a look at the hull when it's not in the water a little bit before we go back to working on the water systems. But for those of you who, I might as well mention this while we're just kind of driving along. For those of you who are new to the channel, don't forget to also check out our Discord. I have a link to that down below. If you guys need any help with Stormworks or want to make friends, check out some stuff that I've been working on behind the scenes, that kind of thing. Definitely check that out. It's a good place to make friends, play some games. But yeah, here you go, guys. It's in the dry dock. I probably banged the props up a little bit, but yeah, I wanted to look at this thing outside of the water. So here it is. I'm gonna hop out in a second and we'll get an actual look. Let me turn this noisy ship off quick. It does get a little quieter in the future. I know also that's something that that's been addressed with a lot of the pumps. I know a lot of people are annoyed with how loud the pumps are. Some of the pumps are very loud, so I do get it. But also, pardon me, the screen's a little black and white. I gotta heal up quick. I didn't know I had player damage on. I'm just gonna walk around it real quick, show off this crane. These cranes are always kind of hard to see from the side of the deck, so there you go. They still work properly. Looks decent. Should lock back in place. But yeah, the ship's a lot taller when it's out of the water than you think it is. But yeah, there you go. I think it looks pretty nice so far. I think the hull definitely is just about how I want it looking at this point. So like I said, we're going to start moving on to working on the inside of the ship a lot more. And I'm going to show you guys that right now. So we are back at the workbench, and this is where I'm going to put our freshwater tank. It's going to be this nice blue. So I'm going to let the time lapse roll a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and explain how all of this works for all of you if you want to recreate this kind of system on your own. Just before I go, I'm going to give a little bit of detail. So in the end, this is going to be able to create fresh water. It's going to be able to circulate the water to a certain temperature, and then also you will be able to pump it anywhere in the ship without the use of other pumps. Like, so at every single exit of the water, you won't need to have a pump. So I'll get into that later, but let me just get some building done, and I will get back to you guys. Great, so I got the water tank in place. I'm gonna make a simple microcontroller in here. I figured I would just leave this one in. It's not really that complex, so if you guys wanna follow along, feel free. This is also not, I'm not gonna completely hook it up right now. There's some other stuff we gotta add to the tank, but so far what you saw was I added the water tank itself with an electric furnace above it. I definitely struggled placing that furnace a little bit, but we got it down. And so what I'm going to do now after this is I'm going to hook up some pumps that are going to suck in seawater through a desalinator and then refill the tank. And this is going to be hooked up to a threshold gate. So the tank will automatically fill itself when it's not full. And then that will be a constant supply of seawater. So the reason the tank is also so big, I know a lot of you will probably comment, the tank is quite big. It's not necessarily just for the ship use. I'm planning on making a search and rescue version of this, so it's also kind of for the purpose of having a lot of water on board to maybe off board to another vessel for like humanitarian aid, something like that. So it's got more water than you really need. I think in the end it carries about 8,000 liters of water total. I might be wrong, that might be 6, but anyways, so here are the desalinators right here. I'm just going to line them up against the wall. I'm going to go with 6. They do pump quite slowly, so this is definitely not a very energy efficient system, but I kind of like to do a lot of the plumbing in this game. I enjoy this part of the game a lot, so you'll see that most of my creations have a lot of pretty complex freshwater systems and that kind of thing. So that's what this is all about. Again, we're just getting a freshwater supply. I'm going to make all this look good. And then later on, I'm going to add the recirculation valve that will keep the water at a consistent temperature. And then after that, we're going to add a check valve with a gas relief valve on the other side of it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an air pump that forces air into the tank. It's going to pressurize our tank, and then that way we can pump outside of the tank like it is like a water tower per se. That would be a good example. So like think about your home faucet. You just turn on the faucet, you essentially are just opening a valve, and there's no electrical pump manually forcing that water in a lot of cases out of the faucet. This is going to work the same way, but instead of it being using gravitational potential energy to kind of essentially pump the water for you, we are going to use air pressure. So we're going to have a lot of sinks later on in this ship, and that's kind of what I meant by it's going to be a pumpless system. A lot of the sinks, you will notice the sinks and showers all are going to operate off of just a valve. They are not going to be a button with a pump or anything like that. They're literally just a valve. And this makes plumbing and adding water systems a lot easier and more enjoyable, in my opinion. It makes it kind of easy because you can kind of just string pipes everywhere you want with water in them. And you don't need to worry about the direction of the water. And you also don't need to worry about the flow of the water. You can just tee off of it anywhere and you got water pressure. It's kind of a nice system. So a lot of people don't really do that, but it's a silly little detail. I like to do it. It adds a lot of realism to the inside of ships. A lot of ships are a lot of plumbing, so that's kind of what all this is about. But I'm gonna quit with the chitter chatter. I'm gonna let the time lapse roll a little bit more, and then we'll come back into it. right, so we got a lot of the building done. I'm just kind of adding a hatch back here to access the tank. God forbid you actually need to go in there and repair something, but I like to make access to pretty much anything and everything in the ship. So you can also hide in there if you can manage to get back there. For those of you who plan on playing hide and seek, I guess. But yeah, so the only other thing that I'm kind of going to work on here is I'm working on the ports that are going to take water out. And that was kind of why I changed the tank shape in the beginning of the video quite a bit. Originally, it was just kind of like a traditional hot water tank where it was really, really just tall cylinder. This one is not like that anymore because I wanted to have a lot room on the bottom and the top to take water out of. This is just going to make plumbing for me easier in the long run. Right here, I'm just adding a manual drain valve in case you need to empty the water for some reason. And then there's also going to be some emergency drain valves in the bottom of the tank, but those will drain into the ship. So that's kind of like a last case or worst case scenario kind of thing. But yeah, so there's multiple backups. This tank should serve us well. Later on in the ship, like I said, we're definitely going to get into the showers and sinks and all that. I think right now I have three bathrooms, 3 showers, and I think there's probably almost 10 sinks scattered around the ship. Geez, there's got to be a lot everywhere. A lot of access to water and that kind of thing. But I think it's important. It's another kind of just useful thing to have around in case you don't have access to seawater for fires. So you can also access the water tank for fires too. So. And right now I was playing around with kind of adding a cooling system to the tank, but I don't really think that was ultimately necessary. You can kind of just let the water cool passively by, not heating it. So I don't really think that. I think that that's kind of a waste of resources, but we will get into that later on in some of the coming episodes. I'm going to work on a freezer that actually works. So I'll show you guys how to cool the air, the ambient air around you in ships in that episode. So if you're interested in that, definitely stick around, stay tuned for that. I'll be going over that in detail too. But yeah, this is just the beginning. The inside of the ship, guys, is going to be crazy. I am not going to give any space to waste. Everything's going to get detailed. Everything's going to get looked at. There's going to be as much realism to the inside of the ship as possible. Equipment everywhere, junk everywhere, piping everywhere. And most of the cool thing about this ship in the end is there is going to be pipes absolutely everywhere. But the cool thing is most of the pipes actually do something. So it's kind of neat. You'll be able to explore it quite a bit. It's easy to get lost in if you're not familiar with it. But it's also, I think it's a nice size in the end where, it's very... I'm coming closer to a more completed stage of the ship right now, and it's nice because it's not super laggy in multiplayer or anything like that. You get pretty decent frames, and you also don't need to run it in high physics mode or anything crazy like that if you have a less powerful computer. So that was something I was worried about. I want you guys to be able to use it, and good to hear that we cram a lot of detail in this, and it's still performing relatively well. So that's good. But that is going to be about it for this one, guys. I'm just kind of trying to make a stairwell down here. I know I'm placing one right here. It doesn't go here. I don't like this. It doesn't make any sense. It's right in a doorway. It's too cramped. But right there, kind of where I'm working right here, this is going to be like a little washroom for the hangar bay. It's going to also have access to a lot of mechanical systems like the air conditioner for the freezer room. And then access to a ballast screen. There's going to be a little bit more controls for the ballast in that room than anywhere else in the ship. And by that, I mean you'll be able to actually manually fill the ballast or empty the ballast completely if you want from there. And then this is just kind of that little jut out. I'm going to end up sticking a sink back here for like a little parts wash basin for the hangar. But yeah, guys, that is just about all we have for today. So if you made it to the end, I appreciate you. I thank you so much. I can't thank you guys enough. The channel has been doing so well lately. So again, I can't say enough. So thank you guys. These videos aren't going anywhere. These builds aren't going anywhere. I'm going to keep them coming. So if you did like the video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If there's anything I'm crucially missing in the carrier, let me know. And if you want some sneak peeks on the builds and updates on the channel, again, don't forget to check out our Discord. But again, thank you guys for staying to the end, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.